I held Mia's hand as we stepped into the hotel lobby, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is where everything starts. I felt light, almost too happy, like the world finally gave me a reason to breathe. Mia laughed at something I said, and I thought her smile looked brighter under the warm lights. I kept telling myself I was lucky. I kept believing she was the one person who truly saw me. The first hour in the room felt perfect. We unpacked, joked about the soft pillows, and talked about exploring the beach in the morning. When she said, "I'm going to take a shower," I nodded and walked out onto the balcony just to feel the breeze and calm my racing heart. That was when I heard it. Her voice soft, shaky, almost nervous. "No, Liam, not now." I froze. "Liam?" The name stabbed into me before I even understood why. I leaned closer to the balcony door, and her words cut through the air like they weren't meant for me. "I can't talk long, he's here." My chest tightened. I whispered, "What is going on, Mia?" But only the wind answered me. I didn't move. I just stood there listening, waiting for something that made sense. But the call ended with a fast sigh and the sound of her shower starting. I walked back inside like nothing happened. Maybe I lied to myself because it felt safer. Later that night, I told her, "I'm going downstairs for some ice," and she simply said, "Okay, babe," without looking up. I tried smiling back, but something in her eyes felt wrong. I took the elevator down and walked toward the ice machine. When I turned the corner into the hallway, I stopped so hard my body almost locked. Mia was there. Not alone. A man stood close to her, too close. Dark hair, nervous eyes, and the same name echoing in my head. Liam. Their hands touched lightly, almost like they forgot the world existed. I heard her whisper, "Just a minute," and heard him say, "I needed to see you." My heart cracked so quietly I almost missed it. I wanted to shout, to confront them, to demand answers, but my legs felt heavy. My voice died in my throat. All I managed to breathe out was silence. I stepped back before they noticed me. I gripped the bucket so hard it hurt. "Why can't I move?" I muttered, angry at myself, angry at her, angry at the entire moment. Then I heard her laugh. Soft, familiar. The same laugh she gave me hours earlier. I felt something inside me break. I walked toward the elevator before they could see me. My reflection in the metal doors looked pale and tired, like someone who aged in minutes. When the doors opened, I stepped inside and closed my eyes. Back in the room, Mia sat on the bed scrolling through her phone. She looked up and asked, "Did you get the ice?" like nothing had happened. I said, "Yeah," and set the bucket down even though it was empty. She didn't notice. Or maybe she didn't care. She leaned against me and said, "Tomorrow's going to be perfect." And I nodded, pretending my world wasn't falling apart. Inside, everything felt wrong. My thoughts spiraled, and I kept hearing her voice saying his name. I kept seeing their hands brushing. I kept feeling that cold, sharp fear that the person I loved most was already slipping away. She kissed my cheek and whispered, "Good night, Ethan." And I whispered back, "Good night," even though nothing felt good anymore. When she turned off the lights, I stared at the ceiling. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sank into silence and let the darkness swallow every warm thought I ever had. That night, something inside me died quietly. And I knew, without fully understanding why, that my silence might destroy me or save me. I lay there listening to her breathing, steady and calm, while mine felt uneven. I kept replaying the hallway in my mind, asking myself if I really saw what I thought I saw. "Maybe I'm wrong," I whispered into the dark, but even the lie tasted bitter. I turned onto my side, careful not to wake her, and stared at the faint glow under the door. Somewhere out there, the truth waited. Maybe it would crush me. Maybe it would open my eyes. But I knew one thing. Nothing about tonight felt right. I felt the weight of secrets pressing against my chest, begging to be spoken, yet I stayed silent in fear. I woke up to the sound of Mia humming softly, and for a second I almost believed nothing was wrong. But the moment she said, "Good morning, babe," with that too sweet tone, something in me tightened again. I forced a smile. "Morning. Sleep well?" "Yeah," she said quickly. Too quickly. "You?" "I tried," I answered. "You were up late. Talking to someone." She froze for a moment. "What?" "No. I was just checking messages." I swallowed the anger I felt rising. "Who?" She shrugged. "Just friends." "Which ones?" She paused again. "Ethan, why are you acting weird?" "It's our honeymoon." Hearing her call me weird made me sick. I wanted to scream. "I saw you last night," but all I said was, I'm just tired. She kissed my cheek lightly. Then relax today, okay? Her voice sounded gentle, but it didn't reach her eyes. It felt like she was reading off a script. Over breakfast, I tried again. You seemed stressed last night. She didn't look up. I wasn't. No calls? Nothing you want to talk about? She glared. Is this an interrogation? I leaned back, surprised. I'm just asking. Well, don't. I'm fine, she snapped before softening. Let's just enjoy today. I forced a nod, but inside I felt myself breaking all over again. Later, we walked through the lobby, and Mia said, I'll go to the spa. You should get coffee or something. The spa? I raised a brow. Alone? Yes, alone. Couples don't have to do everything together, she said, already walking away. I watched her disappear around the corner, clutching her phone like she didn't want it near me. I muttered, yeah. I noticed. I headed to the cafe to clear my thoughts, but the moment I stepped inside, my stomach dropped. Liam was there, sitting alone, staring into a mug like it held the secrets of the universe. When he saw me, his shoulders stiffened, and he tried forming a smile that never fully appeared. Ethan, right? He said, voice trembling slightly. Yeah. I sat across from him. We didn't get introduced last night. Color drained from his face. Last night. I went for ice, I said calmly. I saw you. He swallowed hard. I don't know what you think you saw. You sure? I asked. Because I know what I saw. He looked around nervously. She said things were complicated. I almost laughed. She said that? She's married. I know. His voice cracked. I didn't mean to. Then why did you come? I asked. His hands shook. Because she asked me to. That hurt more than anything. She asked him. On our honeymoon. I stood. Enjoy your coffee. Ethan, he started. Don't, I said. You already said enough. I walked out before I lost control. My chest felt tight, like my ribs were closing in on my heart. Back in the room, Mia rushed out of the bathroom. You're back early, she said. Spa was short. I asked. She flinched. I changed my mind. Because of a call. I asked. What call? The one you took in the hallway. Her eyes widened for a second before she forced a smile. You're imagining things, Ethan. I looked at her and said, Am I? She grabbed my arm. Why are you being like this? Tell me the truth, I whispered. There is no truth to tell, she insisted. I'm your wife. Why would I lie? Her words stabbed me because every one of them was a lie. I didn't argue. Not because I believed her, but because I didn't want to hear more lies from her mouth. While she showered, her phone buzzed on the bed. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. Seeing Liam's name appear on the screen again was enough to make my stomach twist. When she came out, I simply said, Your phone's been blowing up. Oh, she quickly snatched it. Work stuff. On our honeymoon? They can't wait. She shoved the phone into her bag. Her excuses were getting clumsy. Or maybe she didn't care enough to make them believable. That afternoon, my phone vibrated. A message from Daniel, my coworker. Congrats on the marriage, man, but I need to ask, are you sure you're okay? I typed back, why? He hesitated for a minute before sending another text. I saw things before the wedding that didn't look right, but I didn't know how to tell you. My pulse quickened. What things? She was meeting someone a lot. I didn't want to ruin anything. Maybe it was nothing. Nothing. The word mocked me. I put the phone down and stared at the ceiling. Everything inside me felt twisted. Another message buzzed. A different number. No name. Just a single sentence. Your wife wasn't faithful even before the honeymoon. My breath stopped. My hands shook. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't just dealing with one cruel moment. I was living inside a lie that started long before I ever said, I do. I stared at the anonymous message on my phone and whispered, Who sent this? Even though I already knew the answer was going to ruin me. My chest tightened as I read the line again. Your wife wasn't faithful even before the honeymoon. I felt cold all over, like the room suddenly lost all its air. I typed back, Who is this? With shaking fingers, hoping the truth wouldn't crush me more than the silence already had. My phone buzzed again, and when I saw the name, my stomach twisted. It was Olivia, Mia's best friend. She wrote, Can we talk? Please. I stepped onto the balcony and called her. The moment she answered, she was already crying. Ethan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, she kept repeating. I swallowed hard and said, Did you send that message? She didn't even try to deny it. Yes, she whispered. You needed to know. I leaned against the railing and said, Why now? She sobbed louder. Because I couldn't watch you walk into a marriage built on lies. Mia, she wasn't faithful, Ethan. Not on the trip. Not before it. Not even at her bachelorette party. My heart dropped. I asked, what happened? Even though I wasn't sure I could handle the truth. Olivia said, she slept with someone that night. She told me it was a mistake, but she kept doing it. I felt anger rising, but it didn't explode. It just settled inside me like a burning stone. I whispered, how long have you known? Olivia said, since the wedding week. She begged me not to say anything. I rubbed my forehead and said, and you listened? She cried harder. I thought she'd stop. I thought marriage would change her. I closed my eyes and muttered. It didn't. Olivia whispered, I'm so sorry, Ethan. I should have told you sooner. I said, it doesn't matter now. I already saw enough. Olivia hesitated. Liam told me he wanted to apologize. He said he didn't know she was married at first. I almost laughed. That doesn't change what they did. She said softly, are you going to confront her? I shook my head, even though she couldn't see it. No, not yet. Why? She asked. I whispered, because silence hurts more than shouting ever could. I hung up and went back inside. Mia sat on the bed scrolling through her phone like nothing in the world was wrong. She looked up and asked, who were you talking to? I said, Daniel. It was a lie, but it felt safer. She said, what did he want? I shrugged. Just checking in. She smiled faintly. That's nice of him. Her voice sounded distant, like she was more focused on hiding something than talking to me. I sat beside her and said, you seem distracted. She replied quickly, I'm fine. Are you sure? I asked. She glared slightly. Ethan, stop asking weird questions. I nodded, trying not to let my voice shake. All right. She put her phone down and asked, do you want to go out later? I answered, maybe. She sighed. Are you mad at me? I forced a calm tone. Should I be? Her eyes flickered with something I couldn't read. Before she could speak again, my phone buzzed. It was Daniel this time. His message said, are you okay? You seem off. I replied, I'm fine. He wrote back, if you say so. I put the phone away and stood. Mia asked, where are you going? I said, just taking a walk. She nodded slowly. Don't be long. Her voice sounded oddly nervous, but I didn't question it. I needed space before I drowned in my own thoughts. As I walked down the hallway, I heard footsteps behind me. Liam. He called. Ethan, please wait. I didn't turn. Leave me alone, I said. He jogged beside me. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I clenched my jaw. Then stopped talking. He grabbed my arm lightly. She told me you were having problems. I spun toward him. We weren't. She created them. He looked guilty. I'm sorry. I pulled away and said, sorry doesn't fix betrayal. I walked outside to clear my head, but the sky felt heavier than before. My phone buzzed again. Grace. I hesitated before answering. Hey, she said gently. You okay? You sound strange. I exhaled shakily. Grace. I think my wife betrayed me. She stayed silent for a moment, then whispered. Ethan, don't fight for people who don't fight for you. I closed my eyes. What do I do? She said, wait. Watch. The truth always shows itself. Her words settled deep inside me, heavier than the night around me that night. When we got home from the honeymoon, Mia stretched her arms and said, finally, home sweet home. I just nodded. Yeah. She smiled like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't lied. Like she hadn't broken me in ways she didn't even notice. Inside, the house felt different. Heavy. Quiet. Too clean for the mess between us. As she unpacked, she said, do you want dinner later? Sure, I replied. You sound off, she said. I'm tired. She shrugged. Then rest. Her calmness made my skin crawl. I watched every move she made, studying her like someone trying to read a language they never understood before. That evening, her phone buzzed. She grabbed it immediately. I asked softly, who's that? Work, she replied. What did they say? Nothing important. Want to show me? She hesitated. Ethan, stop. You're acting paranoid. I whispered, maybe I am. She glared. Then fix it. I didn't answer. Instead, I watched her face, the way her eyes darted, the way her breath caught every time her phone lit up. I started keeping notes on my phone, times she left the room, unusual calls, sudden excuses. Every detail felt like a piece of the truth she refused to give me. The next day, she asked, Do you want to watch a movie? Not right now, I said. You're still mad at me about something. I'm not mad, I said slowly. Just thinking. About what? I looked at her and said, everything. Her hands tightened around her mug. Ethan, you're scaring me. I replied, good. She blinked. What's that supposed to mean? It means the truth always shows itself, I said. She stared at me like I'd become someone she didn't recognize. Later that week, I was leaving the grocery store when a woman approached me. She wore a hoodie, and her eyes looked tired but sharp. Are you Ethan? She asked. Yes. I'm Emily, she said. Liam's sister. My heart dropped. Why are you here? She sighed. He told me what happened. Everything. I'm sure he left things out, I said bitterly. No, she whispered. He didn't. I crossed my arms. What do you want? To fix what my brother ruined. You think you can? She bit her lip. Maybe not fix, but give you the truth you deserve. I didn't speak. She opened her bag and handed me a folder. What's this? I asked. Proof, she said. Liam's guilt has been eating him alive. I don't care about his guilt, I said. But you care about the truth, she replied. I opened the folder. Screenshots. Hotel logs. Messages. Photos of them together before the honeymoon. Photos of them during the honeymoon. Photos that made my stomach twist so hard I thought I'd drop to the floor. Emily whispered. He didn't know she was married when they first met. He ended it before your wedding, but she didn't. That doesn't make it better, I muttered. I know, she said. But he wanted you to know the truth. He asked me to bring this because he couldn't face you again. I looked at her. Why are you helping me? Because if someone did this to me, she said, I'd want someone to tell me the truth too. I closed the folder. Thank you. She nodded. I hope you do what's best for you. When I got home, Mia was cooking. She smiled. Hey babe, you're early. I didn't answer. I walked straight to the bedroom and locked the door. I sat on the floor and opened the folder again. This time, I let myself break. I whispered, why Mia? But there was no answer. Just pictures. Just lies. Just the truth finally loud enough to hear. After an hour, I stood, wiped my face, and felt something new inside me. Not confusion, not heartbreak. Something colder. Sharper. Ready. The next morning, I told Mia. I have a meeting. With who? She asked. A friend. What friend? Someone who knows the law, I said. She frowned. Why? You'll find out. Her face paled, but I walked away before she could speak. Mark Turner, the divorce lawyer, looked through the folder quietly. After a few minutes, he closed it and said, You handled this calmly. I shrugged. I had time to accept it. He leaned back. You're giving her the cleanest, quietest downfall she'll ever face. I don't want revenge, I said. You want freedom, he replied. I nodded. Exactly. He asked, Do you want to file today? Yes. He slid the papers toward me. Sign when you're ready. I signed without hesitation. When I got home, Mia looked up from the couch. Where were you? I didn't answer. I placed the divorce papers on the kitchen table. She stared at them, her mouth falling open. Ethan, what is this? I didn't say a word. Silence was all I had left. And it was finally enough. Mia stared at the papers on the table like they were alive and biting her. Ethan, what is this? I took off my jacket silently and hung it on the chair. Her voice cracked. No, this isn't real. I said nothing. She grabbed the papers with shaking hands. Divorce? You're divorcing me? I sat down calmly. Yes. Her lips trembled. Why? What did I do? I looked at her slowly. You want me to say it? She swallowed hard. Ethan, please. Talk to me. I finally whispered, I know. She blinked, confused. Know what? I leaned forward. Everything. Her face whitened. Everything what? The calls, I said. The hotel. The messages. The nights before the wedding. Liam. She covered her mouth. Oh my God. I nodded once. Yeah. She dropped the papers and staggered backward. Ethan, wait, listen please, just listen. I've listened enough, I said. She shook her head violently. No, you don't understand. I was drunk. I was stupid. I wasn't myself. That's still you, I said. She broke down instantly, falling onto the couch. It meant nothing. I swear it meant nothing. I said calmly, You slept with him more than once. Her eyes filled with panic. Who told you that? Truth told me, I replied. She stood up, tears pouring down her cheeks. Ethan, please. I can explain. I was stressed. I was scared. I made mistakes. Those mistakes weren't accidents, I said. Her voice rose. I love you. Then why did you betray me? I asked. I don't know, she screamed. I was lost. I stared at her, emotionless. You weren't lost. You were choosing. She sobbed harder, grabbing my shirt. Don't leave me. Please. Please, Ethan. I can fix this. I gently removed her hands. You can't fix something you destroyed on purpose. She fell to her knees on the floor. I'm begging you. Don't do this to us. There is no us anymore, I said. She hit the floor with her fist. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you say you knew? Her voice echoed across the room, raw and painful. I looked down at her and said the words that had been burning inside me. Because I wanted to see who you really are when you think no one is watching. She covered her face with both hands and sobbed like her world was ending. Maybe it was. Maybe it should. She whispered through tears. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't think you'd ever find out. That's the worst part, I said quietly. You didn't regret doing it. You only regret being caught. She shook her head desperately. That's not true. I regretted everything. I raised an eyebrow. Before or after I found the proof? She opened her mouth but couldn't answer. Her phone buzzed on the table. She saw the name and broke again. I need to call someone. I can't breathe. She grabbed her phone and dialed. Olivia, he knows. Olivia's voice cracked through the speaker. Oh God. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I walked to the window as Mia cried louder. Olivia said again, I should have told you. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I said, I don't hate you. Mia sobbed. Ethan, please come here. Please look at me. I stayed by the window. Mia's voice broke. I ruined everything. I ruined the best thing in my life. Olivia whispered, Mia, you have to accept it. No, Mia cried. I can fix this. I can fix us. I turned around slowly. No, you can't. She crawled toward me, tears dripping onto the floor. Ethan, I'll do anything. Therapy. Counseling. Anything you want. I shook my head. I don't want anything from you anymore. She gasped like I had stabbed her. Please don't say that. It's the truth, I said. She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. She whispered, Do I mean nothing to you now? I answered honestly, You mean less than you did yesterday. And yesterday was already broken. She cried harder than I'd ever seen. The sound was painful, but not enough to make me stay. I grabbed my keys from the counter. She choked. Where are you going? Out, I said. For how long? For as long as I need to breathe again. She tried to stand but collapsed back to her knees. Please don't leave. Ethan, please. Her voice echoed through the house, but it didn't stop my steps. As I opened the door, she screamed, Don't walk out. Please don't walk out on me. I paused only once, looked back, and said, You walked out on us first. Then I stepped outside. The air hit my lungs like freedom. For the first time in months, I felt alive. And I didn't look back. I heard about the fallout a week after I left the house. Grace called first, saying, Are you sitting down? Mia's job found out. I sighed and asked, What happened now? She explained the rumor had spread through Mia's office, and someone leaked screenshots that matched the dates I gave the lawyer. I whispered, So it's public. Grace answered, Very. My chest tightened, but not from pity, just exhaustion. Later that day, Olivia texted me. I ended my friendship with her. I can't defend what she did. I replied, I don't blame you. She asked if I was okay. I told her, Not yet, but I'm getting there. She sent a sad emoji, then wrote, I wish I had warned you earlier. I responded, It's done. I didn't feel angry, only tired. 2 days later, Emily called. Liam left town, she said. He can't face anyone. I nodded even though she couldn't see it. He should have thought about that earlier, I said. She replied softly, He knows. I asked if she was okay. She said, Trying to be. That was all. I appreciated her honesty. Everyone else had been lying for months. That evening, Mia called again. I stared at her name for a long minute before answering. What? I said flatly. Her voice was shaky. Please talk to me. I'm falling apart. I replied, Not my problem. She sobbed. I know, but please, Ethan, give me a chance. I said, I already gave you many. She begged, Just hear me out. I sighed. I'm listening for 1 minute. She inhaled sharply. I'm pregnant. The world stopped. My voice dropped. Is it mine? She didn't answer. I repeated louder. Is it mine? She whispered, I don't know. My stomach twisted painfully. Of course you don't, I said. She cried, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't breathe for a moment. I said, do a test. She asked, will you come with me? I answered, no. Have Olivia take you. She whimpered, please don't abandon me during this. I replied, you abandoned me long before this. She went silent except for her crying. I hung up before she said anything else. Grace called that night. You okay? She asked gently. I said, she's pregnant. Grace went quiet. Do you think? I cut her off. It's not mine. I can feel it. She asked, what will you do? I said, wait for the test. Grace whispered, whatever happens, I'm here. I closed my eyes. Thank you. She answered, always. 2 days later, Mia texted, results are ready. I didn't reply. After an hour, she called. Ethan, she said in a tiny voice, it's not yours. I didn't react. She cried harder. Say something. I asked, what do you want me to say? She screamed through tears. I ruined everything. I ruined my life. I whispered, yes. You did. She begged, please come over. I need you. I said, you needed me before you broke me. She sobbed, I'm alone. I replied, you made yourself alone. She cursed herself repeatedly, apologizing between gasps, but I felt nothing. No anger. No pity. Just emptiness. When she finally whispered, can you forgive me someday? I answered, no. She cried, why not? I said, because karma never misses. Then I hung up. That afternoon, Mark called. Papers are ready for final signature. I drove to his office, signed without hesitation, and handed the pen back. Mark nodded. It's done. I exhaled for the first time in months. As I walked out of the building, the weight on my chest lifted slowly. My phone buzzed Mia again. I didn't answer. As I drove home, the evening sun sank behind the buildings, casting long shadows across the road. My phone buzzed again and again, but I didn't check it. I knew it was her. I didn't need to hear another apology that meant nothing. Grace called. I answered and she asked, is it over? I said, yeah. It's done. She breathed out softly. How do you feel? I thought for a moment. Lighter, I said. Empty but lighter. When I reached home, I sat in the car for a few minutes, letting the quiet settle around me. My phone buzzed again, Mia, begging for a chance, begging for forgiveness. I turned it off. I whispered, no more. Walking to my door felt like stepping into a new life. Maybe a painful one, maybe a lonely one, but mine. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I didn't owe anyone anything. For the first time, I felt free. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me. I stood in the living room one last time, staring at the empty walls. The divorce had been finalized that morning, signed, sealed, and stamped with a reality I never imagined living through. My suitcase sat by the door. My chest felt strangely light, like grief had finally given me enough space to breathe. Mia walked in quietly. Her eyes were swollen, her cheeks streaked with dried tears. She whispered, you're really leaving today? I nodded. Yes. She swallowed. Can we talk? We've said everything, I answered. She shook her head weakly. No, you talked. I cried. I never told you how sorry I am. You did, I said. Many times. Then let me say it again, she whispered. I'm sorry for all of it. I looked at her and replied, sorry doesn't undo anything. She stepped closer. Can we at least try again someday? No, I said without hesitation. Her voice broke. Why not? I'm trying to change. I hope you do, I said. But I won't be part of that process. Tears filled her eyes again. I don't want to lose you. You already did, I said softly. She stared at the floor. I ruined everything. Yes, I replied. But not just the marriage. She looked up slowly. What else did I ruin? My trust, I said. My peace. My sense of who I was. She closed her eyes, letting tears fall silently. I picked up my bag. Mia stepped forward. Please, Ethan, just stay a little longer. For what? I asked. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. I said gently, you want comfort from the person you destroyed. Her lips trembled. I don't know how to live with this guilt. That's something you have to figure out, I replied. She asked in a broken whisper. Can you at least tell me one last thing? Depends on the question. Do you hate me? I shook my head. No. Hate keeps people connected. I'm letting go. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Then say something to me before you go. Anything. I hesitated, then said the one sentence that felt right. I hope you heal, but I won't be part of your journey. She sobbed quietly, covering her mouth with her hands. She didn't scream or beg this time. She just cried, silent, painful tears that told me she finally understood the weight of what she destroyed. I opened the door. She whispered, "Goodbye, Ethan." I replied, "Goodbye," and stepped out. The air outside felt cool and honest. Grace waited in her car, leaning against the door, watching me with gentle eyes. "You ready?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah." She opened the passenger door. "Get in. Let's go home." As we drove away from the house, she asked, "How do you feel?" I stared out the window. Like something heavy finally fell off me. She nodded. "That's what freedom feels like." I took a deep breath. I lost more than a marriage. I lost myself for a long time. She said softly, "Then we find you again." Slowly. I closed my eyes and let the road hum beneath us. "I kept thinking staying quiet made me weak," I said. Grace replied, "No. It made you patient. It made you see clearly." I smiled faintly. "Maybe." She added, "You didn't explode. You didn't break things. You walked away with dignity." I looked over at her. "Thank you for being here." "Always," she said. "I'm not going anywhere." We passed the old places that once held memories of Mia and me, restaurants, parks, corners where we laughed about stupid things. The memories didn't hurt as sharply now. They felt like pages from a book I had already finished. Grace asked, "Do you regret loving her?" I thought about it. "No. I regret losing myself for her." "That's different," she said. "Yeah," I whispered. "It is." As we turned onto a long highway, the house faded behind us. Grace glanced over and said, "You didn't look back." I shook my head. "There's nothing there for me anymore." She smiled softly. "Good. That means you're healing." "Maybe I am," I said. The sky looked wider somehow, like it had been waiting for me to lift my head again. I rested my hand on the window and whispered words meant only for myself. "It's over." Grace heard me anyway. "It is. And now you get to rebuild." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, I do." As the car rolled forward, I felt the first flicker of something warm. Hope, maybe. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. I whispered my final thought, the one truth that settled deepest in my chest. I didn't win by hurting her. I won by choosing myself.